That wasn't supposed to happen that way, though, because the initial agreement was, and I have the paperwork right here, that I have full custody and plans to move Amina to New York. He didn't even show up to the last hearing.
What I'm telling you is,
he's just using this as control to.
This is not a matter of control, Ms. Dunn. This is a matter of, this is a matter of us treating fathers the same way as we treat mothers. And Ms. Dunn have a child together.
That's correct.
And it's a girl.
Correct.
How old?
3.
Where do you live? In what state?
Oregon.
And where do you live?
I just moved to New York City.
When did you move to New York?
I moved there in June of 2024.
And tell me why you moved from Oregon to New York City.
I moved there to pursue a career in the NYPD.
And how did that work out?
Right now it's on hold due to him having this lawsuit. You can't go into the academy with an active lawsuit.
Who do you live with in New York?
I currently have 3 roommates, Your Honor.
And where in New York City do you live?
I live in Upper Manhattan.
And since June, I gather from the papers that you've had physical custody of your daughter.
Correct. Technically since May, but she moved in June.
Okay. So she's been with you since May of this year.
That's correct.
Your Honor, that's incorrect.
Well, it's either May or June. She's with him now.
Yeah, since June, not May.
Okay. Yeah. June, July, August, September, October, November, almost 6 months.
Correct.
How are you supporting yourself in New York?
I have a job.
With whom?
I have a job with Starbucks and then a job with a TV production company.
Did you take the test for police officer in New York?
did.
And you passed?
Yes.
Okay. Did you take that in 2024?
Correct. Yes, in March of 2024.
Okay. This is what your case is about, sir. It is your claim that the defendant owes you for a loan that you made to her last year when she was in some financial difficulty and she needed money for rent.
That's correct.
And it's Ms. Dunn's claim that you were behind in child support and you didn't want to see either Ms. Dunn or your daughter on the street, so you gave her the money.
That's incorrect.
Just a second. That's what your response is. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, just so that I'm totally clear, for the first 2.5 years of your daughter's life, she lived with you?
Primarily, he had visitation on the weekends.
So she lived with you Monday through Friday and with him on the weekends?
Correct.
Is that court-ordered, or was it an agreement that the two of you made?
We did it in mediation through the court.
Who filed that lawsuit?
The custody, I did.
What, was the child with him?
When we split, or when I had moved out of his place, I filed for custody.
Okay. When you moved out of his home, how old was your daughter?
That was June of 2022, so she was a year old.
Okay, so for the first year, you all lived together.
Correct.
And then you moved out, and she was with you for 1.5 years.
Sorry, yes.
And now she's been with him for 6 months.
Correct.
For the 1.5 years that you weren't together, had you come to an agreement with regard to child support?
So...
That's not a so. That's either a yes or a no.
We came to an agreement where he paid a certain amount up front, and then after that, he was supposed to pay $100 a month, and then he never did that. But that would have only been 1 month until I had moved to New York, so I never said anything, because I had been living with him, so never said anything after that, so it had only been the month.
Well, now you've been in New York for 6 months, and you have 2 jobs. Your daughter is with the plaintiff. Do you send him any money? That's a question. That doesn't require a long answer. You've been in New York for 6 months. You have, according to you, 2 jobs. Do you send him any money for your daughter's support? That's either a yes or a no.
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, I think it's important that you know that he does make significantly more money than I do.
Who cares?
So...
Who cares? That's meaningless. Parent is entitled...
When it comes to the child support, it is meaningful because...
No, it's not meaningful.
It is, because his amount he would have paid would have been totally different, because the way he makes the money, like, the state doesn't know, because he makes it under the table, and it's not in a way that...
Just a second. Is the child receiving welfare of any kind? Does the child receive aid of any kind?
Yeah,
That's a yes or a no?
Yes. Medicaid.
Sure. The child receives aid. What kind of aid does the child receive? Any with you?
Plenty with me, Your Honor.
No. You're not following my question. The child has been with you for 6 months. Does the child receive any assistance, financial assistance, From the state?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
From anywhere other than parents?
From myself and the family, correct.
What family?
My family, my immediate family.
Okay, but not from the state.
That's correct.
When the child was,
that's
just a second, when the child was living with you, was the child receiving welfare?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's who the child support order was made against. It was made against him because the state, I was supporting your daughter, or the people in the state where you live were supporting your daughter. So that's why the child support order was made. Now, are you telling me that somebody is still receiving aid for this child? That's a question. That's either a yes or a no. Is somebody still receiving aid from the government for this child?
It's not me, Your Honor.
Not you. Are you still receiving?
Amina receives Medicaid in Oregon.
I have a question. This has been my business for almost 50 years. Are you receiving any money
No.
from the state from your daughter?
No. I never received, Amina has Medicaid.
And that's the only assistance that you received? No financial assistance?
Never received financial, just Medicaid.
When she was living with you for the year and a half, were you working?
Yes.
So the only financial support, no food stamps, nothing else. Is that correct?
I had food stamps.
Well, so in addition to the Medicaid, you had food stamps.
Yes, not now, back in
I'm talking
Oregon.
about then.
Okay, yes, then, yes.
So then, you were working.
Yes.
Who was watching her when you were working for that year and a half?
I had a babysitter through government assistance.
So in addition to that, the government paid for childcare.
Yes.
Were you living in a place where you had a housing subsidy?
No.
So just food stamps, Medicaid, and childcare?
Yes.
Okay. Now, tell me about this loan, sir. We're going to make it very fast. Tell me what date she called you and told you she was in financial trouble.
Last year, I got a text message from her asking for assistance.
Do you have that text message?
I do.
Can I see it, please?
Sure. I have several, if I may bring those all.
Well, I want to see when she initially asked you for financial assistance.
Sure.
You remember sending this to him? You know how with the child support stuff you advanced me money? Mm-hmm. Would you be able or willing to do that one more time? And you can type up whatever document that I will sign again. I just need help one last time to try to get ahead so I cannot stop asking for help. You remember saying that? And do you remember what he responded to you?
No.
You have the response to her?
Your Honor, may I just give you all these since they're all concurrent?
Sure. Your text message to him proceeds, I may be able to pay back some during tax season. If you are able to help this one last time, I will not ask again. You remember that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You needed $2,142, and I can give you a minimum of $500 by the 8th of December. And then the remaining balance can be either paid back by tax return or added to the child support, which add a year and a half. Okay, and it was clear from these emails that you were having difficulty. Couldn't pay all your bills, your hours got cut. And then you say, please, I need help. If you want me to take Amina more time, or if there's something I can do in return, I'll paint your place on my days off, anything, please. And he does give you the money.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Okay,
Your Honor.
$2,142. Is that what you needed for rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you pay him back?
I did not.
Did you paint his house?
I painted partial.
Which part did you paint?
His bathroom, and then I had returned multiple times, and on those other times, he had me do other things that he felt were more important. I mowed his lawn and his farm, so I didn't have time to do the rest of the painting. And then I've also have FaceTimed my daughter multiple times recently within the last few weeks, and the painting has not been done.
I'm not worried
Since
about
then.
the painting, madam, being
But,
done.
like,
That's not,
but
I'm not
he's-
considering that as part of his lawsuit, although he adds that in.
Well,
I'm
that's what
talking
I was
about the
saying, yeah.
$2,142. You did not return that.
I made it very clear within the time that I have limited time, because then in December I had picked up another job, and I was making it very clear to him I had limited time to come paint.
Okay, we're not.
And I have
I'm
the
not really,
message. I have
forget paint.
messages of
Forget
that.
paint. So he's entitled to his $2,142. The question that I have for you, Ms. Dunn, first of all, let me tell you that I really have respect for the fact that you're trying to move yourself forward career-wise. And I think that you are a hard worker. But it's also clear to me that the plaintiff has substantial input in his daughter's life. She's lived with him for more than half of her life, together with you for a period of time, and then for the last 6 months with him exclusively while you've been in New York.
Your Honor, that wasn't supposed to happen that way, though, because the initial agreement was, and I have the paperwork right here, that I have full custody and plans to move Amina to New York. He didn't even show up to the last hearing.
What I'm telling you is,
he's just using this as control to.
This is not a matter of control, Ms. Dunn. This is a matter of. This is a matter of us treating fathers the same way as we treat mothers. And Mr. Cam has had physical custody of this child in the child's home state, which is where you both lived, which is where the child lived. You decided to move and explore a career in another jurisdiction. No family court judge in your home state, which is where the child is now, unless he agrees with it, is going to let this child move out of the jurisdiction.
I already have proof that they did. I have
Honor.
the paperwork
just a second.
right here that they have agreed to let Amina move with me.
Just a second. I'm just curious. I would like to see. You have a court order that says she's allowed to move you to New York? I'd like to take...
The only reason when that happened, that was a fluke, because I never got notice, and because it went to spam via email, and
Just a second.
And there's actually a hearing pending. That's why I'm granted a new hearing, because I never got notice for that. So the results
Okay,
will
so
differ
this order was granted on default. Was there a hearing? I just want to know.
Yes, there was a hearing in July.
Yes.
What?
Yes, there was a hearing. And
May I see it, please? This was in July.
Yes, that's correct.
But the order is wrong. In July, the child was with him, and this order was made without him being present, because there's no way a court would enter this kind of an order unless there was a default with you having physical custody of the child, because it says petitioner, that's Danielle Dunn, already has custody of the child.
I have in Oregon, I have sole custody and parenting time are two different things.
Just a second. Madam, you have to understand, I'm a family court judge.
I know.
I'm a family court judge.
I know
right
you are.
now, he has sole...
No, he does not. He has... You
have to listen before you say no. Right now, he has sole physical custody, and he has had sole physical custody of this child since June. So when the court issued this order in July, which was on default because he didn't appear, he said he didn't receive notice, you appeared, the court asked you questions and wrote in that you had custody. Don't tell me no, that's what it says here. The box is checked. This is a check.
I'm trying to explain to you that their custody doesn't mean they knew I was not in the state of Oregon, and they knew I did not have Amina with me physically. They knew that.
Shh, just a second.
They knew that.
Just a second. Don't tell me what they knew. Show me that in this document.
I'm telling you.
You can't tell me what they knew.
They did, because the whole point of that was because he was threatening me, because before I moved, he agreed with me. We were coming up with a plan of how we were going to parent Amina.
Coming up with a plan.
And then he switched up and said, and then he was like taking it all back. So I had petitioned the court saying, I'm moving. This is what I would like. So when I had shown up to court, he did not show up. I told the court, I am not in Oregon. I do not have Amina. Amina is in Oregon with her dad.
That's not what it says.
This is what I told
Just a second. That's not what this says. And what I'm telling you, madam, is if he's going to, just so that you know, if he's going to revisit that, nobody is going to let you leave Oregon with this child. It's not going to happen. Not if he doesn't consent to it. No judge is going to let you take a child from the home state, move to another state, and I totally respect that you want to create a career for yourself. You should have done it in Oregon. Once you have a child with somebody, unless they agree to let you take the child out of their home state And unless there's some overriding condition, not because you want a career in another state, but you have a child together. You know, if you're a non-custodial parent and you decide to move out of the jurisdiction and you forfeit your parenting time, that's one thing. But they're not going to let you take this child from the child's home state any place else unless he consents to whatever time frame. And I don't see how that's going to
Well, he did at first, and then he's changed his mind the day I moved.
And she did write to the court. She
Anyway,
told the court.
that's actually
She told the
beyond.
court she was moving in August, and she actually moved in June. So.
Just a second. It's actually, I'm just trying to explain to you that I respect the fact that you're a hardworking gal, that you took the test in New York, passed the test in New York, that you're waiting for something to happen for you in New York, that's where you want to live. What I'm telling you is you're young, and maybe you don't understand it, or maybe you do understand and got whatever advice that you got. I'm just suggesting to you that you might want to rethink leaving the jurisdiction, because leaving the jurisdiction, which is the child's home state, might in fact involve you leaving her with her father. Do you understand that? Because this default judgment is going to be opened. It would be opened for me if I had a litigant who said I didn't receive notification and I actually knew that that parent had physical custody of the child at the time I made the order. I would open up this default judgment. I just want you to know that that's a possibility. Okay, judgment for the plaintiff and the amount requested, the amount of the loan only, sir, not the cost of painting your house. Not the cost of painting your house. The loan was $2,100.
Well, she did lie about that. She never painted anything.
Just
that
a
was
second.
Previously, but
Sir, I'm granting your petition, which was the amount of the loan, not the amount that it cost you to repaint your house.
No, it was a condition, though. That was a condition. If I bail her out of that eviction, then she'll paint my house.
I want you to understand what I just said to you. You get it? So you're getting back, sir, exactly what you gave to her, which was $2,142. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you.
It's fair. It's disappointing, but fair.
I think even if the judge had ruled 0 in my favor, ultimately, to me, the biggest incentive is the fact that the judge solidified that in the end, it's all about our daughter, and our daughter gets to stay with me.
It's very hard to work with him. I just want to move forward, get to a place where we can just co-parent.
We're living in a digital age. I think it's really important to keep a good records and just have everything backed up if you fall in this predicament.
Young woman, and she was a young woman. There's a big age gap between those two people. I was impressed by the fact that she really wants to create a different kind of a life for herself. And that would be wonderful. But I think it's going to take yet another generation for people to understand that once you have a child, you can't decide where you want to move.
Yeah. I think people take that for granted, thinking that just because I'm the mother, I can create a life for myself anywhere I want.
Right, and you can't. There is also very little doubt in my mind that in July, when she petitioned the court for custody, she was already in New York. And there's no question that if he had been served with that, he would have appeared because he actually had physical custody of his daughter.
Yeah.
And she's making a request to be able to move and to have full physical custody and legal custody of the child. There's no question he did not have notice.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I thought she was a reasonable young woman.
Yeah, it's hard because on one hand you want to applaud her for trying to better her life and get herself, instead of working 3 jobs, to have a real career, especially as somewhere as prestigious as the NYPD, so you can appreciate that. But also before that comes your child, and you don't get to make those types of decisions when, unfortunately, now courts are involved in the custody of your child. And if he makes more money than she does, and that child seems, from what we heard, happy where she is. Not that money is the end-all be-all, but just meaning that she's well cared for. If you want to make that decision to move and go to the NYPD and put in your time there and do that, that's your choice, but you're going to be leaving your child behind.
Right. And I don't think that that's...
A career in the NYPD or a life with her daughter? That is the heart of this intense courtroom clash as Ms. Dunn faces a judge over a $2,142 unpaid loan and a messy cross-country custody dispute. After moving from Oregon to New York City in June 2024 to pursue her police dreams, she left her 3-year-old daughter behind with the father for over 6 months. While she argues the father is using the lawsuit for control and claims he makes more money under the table, the judge shuts her down instantly, stating that income disparity doesn't turn a legal loan into a gift. Evidence in the form of desperate text messages proves she promised to pay back the rent money or paint his house, neither of which she fully did. The judge delivers a final, stinging reality check: accountability matters, and no court will allow a mother to uproot a child from their home state just for a career change without the father's consent. In the end, the law sides with stability, ordering the full repayment of the debt and reinforcing that fathers deserve the same rights as mothers.